Hi, today's good person to know is Edward Donald. He's Omni-channel and e-commerce retail specialist for the UK Trade and Investment, UKTI, which is all about the expansion and representation of British brands and retailers overseas, and they look to attract employment opportunities from overseas into the UK too. An opportunity was identified following the London 2012 Olympics in that anything bearing the Union Jack was of significant interest to visitors in the UK, and particularly those from Asia. So the UKTI are at hand to assist in that process. Edward talked through the main advantages of getting the UKTI involved if you're looking to expand your business. As we already know, mobile and social media have changed the way that we previously traded, in that the value chain has got so much shorter. And Edward says see these as media vehicles, and I think that's the key, because they give easy access to a brand new customer base which we didn't previously have, and that's because the barriers to entry have virtually gone. So I hope you enjoy this video, particularly relevant to anyone looking to expand their business. So thanks for watching.
UK Trade and Investment is the British government's agency for the expansion and representation of British brands and retailers overseas, and it also has an inbound investment capability which looks to attract direct employment opportunities from overseas into the UK.
I love online shopping because I can shop whenever I want to.
80% of my shopping is online.
It's much quicker, it's much more convenient, and there's no traipsing around.
Technology has had a huge positive impact on our business. We have 43 stores in the UK, and through leveraging technology we're able to reach a much wider geographical audience.
100 million unique visitors coming to our site. That means that's actually a larger population than that is in UK.
It is very exciting, you coming in the morning to realise that you've been selling all night while you've been sleeping.
Many of UKTI's customers are telling us that we need to help them get into these e-marketplaces around the world, and that is exactly what UKTI's e-exporting program is all about.
The reason for it is really driven by a couple of different factors. The first is that coming from the Olympic Games, British brands, British retailers, really anything associated with the Union Jack, begun to benefit from an enormous bounce and level of interest right the way across the globe, notably in Asia. An opportunity was identified not only to help British companies, but also to help the exchequer, to help create jobs, and through that social fabric. What we can bring as UKTI is a number of things. We are fully neutral in our perspective. So in other words, there's no commercial element really to what we're looking at. So we can hover over things with a global perspective, whilst also having the ability to do deep dives into regions and territories through our embassy network and through the specialists that we employ. The number of new smartphone users in China and India, which dwarfs the number of babies born worldwide every day. The online community is larger than those who watch the World Cup viewership in the final. We are no longer in an environment where inherited trading structures, inherited distribution models and that type of thing are dictating the availability of product. We see that where smartphones, 4G, wearable technology and devices come together with the infrastructure that enable those devices to work, we see an enormous peak in search, in terms of social activity, and a peak in spending patterns. The pressure that physical retail is coming under in terms of operating models and so on and so forth, it perhaps provides an outlet for businesses to grow with confidence as they test and learn their approach in the digital space. Because if you don't do it, you're going to miss almost a generation of learning in your organisations. And that generation isn't necessarily a 10-year span like it might have been understood in the past. It's a lot shorter than that because of the speed that everything's moving at. We really want to draw everyone's attention to, in the UK retail industry, is just how many transactions are projected to go from being on mobile at the moment and what they're like to head towards in the future, which looks like being 50% plus. And we're hearing from certain marketplaces that's even higher. What we're seeing is the need for companies to embrace the access to data that they can now get as part of planning their export operations. And this is therefore leading to a very significant change in the way trade is done. Previous distribution-led models or agent models, that type of thing, are beginning to fall away, and the value chain is getting shortened. The volume of web visitors on these e-market platforms is astounding. And whilst some people might have a certain reticence as to why they should use a platform because they associate it maybe with discounting or other activities, I think it's very, very important to almost take a step back from that and what it can do and what it can be, to look at them as media vehicles. Whilst they do enable you to sell goods, importantly, they provide you access to huge numbers of consumers and the data that sits behind how those consumers are behaving on the platforms. And overall, this is because market entry is a much easier process through e-marketplaces. And when it's supported by access to search data and also the accumulated knowledge that a good understanding of social media overseas can provide, those three elements, all data-led, can be a very, very compelling combination to help a company move overseas.